A man named Don Bowman, and never heard of him before?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you've heard of him?
John Bunyan?
No, Bowman.
Bowman.
Oh.
Bowman.
I
Don.
thought you said Bunyan. Bunyan.
Don Bowman.
Okay, my mistake.
And I'm not going to tell you much about it. I'm not going to read the back. That spoils it. That's my opinion. I like to do that when I read a book, if I want to purchase a book or not. But I don't want to give you any clues. Except for I will tell you that they were from the Bible Missionary Church.
Oh.
Not here, but that's the church that they eventually became connected with. And we'll see if I can pronounce these names. I have a pronunciation guide, but it's not like I can go back and look at it. So I'll probably mess them up. I don't even know if it's in today's chapter. Probably not, but it will be eventually. 5-year-old Donnie slung his sack over his shoulder. Most of his large family was done working in the cotton fields for the day. His family had lived a lot of places, in tents, once in a tin building, but mostly in old shacks. They didn't have a lot of things that other people did around Homedale, Idaho. That's why it made him so upset at what the big tomcat was doing. There at the side of the road was his friend Arthur. "Say, Donnie, what's wrong?" asked Arthur. Donnie sighed. "Do you see the old tomcat anywhere? He's been killing Wes's rabbits." Arthur wrinkled his face. Donnie said, "I wish that old cat was gone." Arthur exclaimed, "Ah, I have an idea. How about if we catch that cat and drown him in the canal?" "That's a great idea," Donnie said excitedly. Arthur planned, "We can use your sack. Help him catch the cat. Then we'll tie the end and throw him in the water."
Oh.
The boys dashed all over the yard, chasing the old tomcat until they had him in the bag. "Hold the sack! Hold the sack! Don't let him get away!" Arthur ordered. 12-year-old Wes walked up as they were struggling with the sack. "What are you doing?" he asked, perplexed. Donnie smiled proudly at his older brother and answered, "We've got that old tomcat. We're going to drown him in the canal. He won't ever eat any more of your rabbits." Wes looked unsure. "But that's a good sack that you have him in. You can't get rid of a good sack. You can drown the cat, but make sure you bring the sack back." The boys agreed, obviously not thinking through how they were going to drown the cat and keep the gunny sack at the same time. They scurried to the canal and threw the sack in. Donnie yelled, "Arthur, the cat is getting out!" The cat swam out of the gunny sack and the sack started down the canal. "No, I have to save the sack!" Donnie leaned over to rescue the sack and fell into the water. Terror washed over him. "Help! Help!" He sputtered as his head went under the water, then bobbed back up. "Help!" he yelled again, gulping in big gasps of water. He went under yet again. As the world went black under the water, he thought, "I'll never see Mom and Daddy again, or my puppy or Kitty." Back on the bank, Arthur watched with a horrified look. Donnie had fallen into the water, and he could no longer see where he was. The water was about 6 feet deep where Donnie had fallen in. He was swept through a small culvert or an open drain under the road. Arthur had to get help. Wes or Donnie's dad, somebody. He ran the quarter-mile back to their house. His lungs were burning and his breaths were coming out in big gulps when he reached Donnie's house. "Wes, help! Donnie's fallen into the water!" Arthur screamed. "Are you playing a joke?" Wes said, disbelieving. For a while, Wes didn't believe him, but when Arthur burst into tears, Wes started hollering for help and took off for the ditch. Wes was frantic as he looked in the water. "Where did he fall in?" he yelled. Arthur pointed to the water where they had thrown in the cat, but there was no sign of Donnie. "Maybe he was swept through the culvert," Wes panted. Surging up and down the ditch, finally they ran to the other side of the road. Looking up, they saw a farmer on his tractor with his dog running alongside. Mister, can you help us?" Wes called over the engine. "My brother has fallen in the water and we can't find him." Then the farmer's dog started barking excitedly some ways downstream. They ran there and saw only a small part of Donnie's shirt showing out of the water. They pulled Donnie out, and Wes, who had just learned artificial respiration, began to work on him. By this time, Donnie and Wes's mother, father, and sister, Veda, had arrived at the canal. Their father was barefooted when he heard Wes give the alarm and had run the whole quarter of a mile shouting, "Ouch! Ouch! Ouch!" As Wes and the farmer worked on Donnie, water gushed out of his mouth, nose, and ears. He began to breathe. The family had to run back home, including Don's dad, who was still barefoot, to get the car. Donnie's 8-year-old sister Wilma had already run to the neighbors to call the doctor. While Wes and the farmer worked on Donnie, everyone had been praying. When Donnie finally opened his eyes, he was in the car. He blinked with surprise. The last memory he had was being under the water and being sure that he was dying. Now he was breathing. He had been under the water unconscious for a long time, but somehow he had lived. It was a miracle. The family had no way of knowing that God had something special planned for Donnie. He had work for him to do one day. And did you know that God's eyes are on you? That He has a plan for every person's life? And we'll stop there.